Kelsey. This is my channel, The Fancy Hat Lady Reads. I am wearing one of my fancy booktube hats, and today I'm going to tell you what books I hope I'll be able to get around to reading this October. Now, at the turn of the month, I had just started reading 2 books. In print, I had just started reading The Sisters of the Winter Wood by Rena Rossner, and on my Kindle, I had just started reading Toil and Trouble, 15 Tales of Women and Witchcraft. I still want to finish both of these very soon here, but I've also got some books out from the library, and I realized a few days ago that, whoops, I was not going to be able to renew Revenant Gun because there were holds on it, and it was coming due in just a few days here. So this is due back in the library day after tomorrow as I'm filming this. I'm a little over halfway through. I am on track to finish it on time to return it, but it means I had to put those other 2 books on hold. Now, there are 2 other books that have been on my currently reading shelf for months and months now, that I am actually hoping that I'll be able to finish both of these up in the month of October as well, crossing my fingers. The first is The Turnip Princess and Other Newly Discovered Fairy Tales, which is a group read for a now long-ended group read period for the Into the Forest Goodreads group, which I will link below. And the other is The Onion Girl by Charles Lint, which I actually got pretty far into here before I had to set it aside a long time ago to prioritize other things, and I keep just forgetting to get back to this book. I think October will be a great time to read this because I feel like mythic urban fantasy is a really good seasonal fit for the fall. I do also have 2 other new releases out from the library right now, both due back later in the month than Revenant Gun, but both also with holds lists on them, so they cannot be renewed. This is one of those things where all of your library holds come in at the same time, so I do have to read both of these. So these are Record of a Spaceborn Few by Becky Chambers, which is the 3rd Wayfarer's book, although I believe this works perfectly well as a standalone, and Rogue Protocol by Martha Wells, which is the 3rd Murderbot book. And then any other time I've got in the month, I just want to fill it with my most anticipated, most hyped reads. And for me, that's going to be 2 arcs for books that are already released that have been hotly anticipated by me for a long time, and I just haven't got to these yet. They are Muse of Nightmares, which was also on my TBR for last month, and I didn't get to it. This is the sequel to Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor, the final book in this duology. And Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. I did put this off, even though I could have read this earlier, because I knew this was an upcoming group read for the Into the Forest Goodreads group. It is now a current group read, so this is the month that I am going to read it. You may have noticed that I have basically not chosen Halloween, spooky, witchy themed books this month, and I'm not participating in any of the spooky, witchy readathons that happen in multitudes around this time of year. I tried really hard to do October Halloween themed reading last year, and it was frustrating for me because I didn't get to a ton of the books on my TBR, and I felt like I had a deadline on them because after October 31st they would be no longer appropriate. I genuinely think that every one of these fairy tale-ish or atmospheric fantasy books that I already have on my TBR fit with my actual autumnal, fall, October reading mood. I don't tend to actually go for really spooky stuff around Halloween. I'm more just give me fairy tales and pretty magic year-round, and that is my Halloween aesthetic. But I did go back to last year's October TBR, and I took a look to see which of those books I still a year later haven't gotten to. And there are a couple, and I decided to throw one of them in here because it's also made it onto other recent TBRs of mine, and I still haven't gotten to it, and that is Witches of Lychford by Paul Cornell, which is short. It is a Tor.com novella, so I decided I'm going to have this one witchy read that I can read sometime around Halloween, right at the end of October, that won't be intimidating at all or feel like a lot of pressure because it is super short. Oh, and I did mention back at the beginning I am reading Toil and Trouble, which is definitely a Halloween themed read. So that's what I'm hoping to read here in October. I do have some other things out from the library that don't have holds on them that I have just been renewing that I would like to actually make progress on. A couple of them are really short, so maybe I'll be able to squeeze them in between some of these books, maybe not. I'm just trying not to put too much pressure on myself and my reading right now, because I remember I did that last year in October and it kind of stressed me out. Anyhow, let me know if you are reading, have read, or are going to read any of these books, if you'd like to chat with me about them. Let me know if you enjoy seasonal October, like Halloween spooky reading, or if you don't. Anyhow, I hope you're having a nice day. That is all. Bye for now.